Working with text in Canva is one of my favorite things to do, but I have to admit, finding or mixing and matching the right fonts among Canva's thousands of possibilities can be a bit of a finding Waldo moment for a Canva beginner. In this video, I'm going to share some tips for finding the right fonts in the library and how to best work with text in Canva. All right, folks, I am here in a Canva document, and I will start by showing you two different ways you can use to add text to your design. The first one is simply to head over the text tab right here in the object panel. So click on that, and from here, you can simply add a text box by using this purple button. This will add a text box to your design, or you can choose one of the text default styles that you have here, okay? So if you want a bigger title, you can click on Add a Heading. All right, so Canva free users won't be able to customize these default text styles, but Canva Pro users can do so via the brand kit. The second way, which is kind of like a shortcut, is to simply use the T key on your keyboard. So if I press T, there you go, it creates a text box, which will be similar to the last text box I have created in a Canva design. So there you go, two easy ways to add a text box to your design. Right, now let me show you how you can style the different text boxes you have created. So what I'm going to do is to start by changing the font of my main heading right here. In order to change the font of any text box on your document, you first will need to select that text box. Then once you have it selected, head over the upper section of your screen and identify the font box right here. This will open this menu right here in the left side of your screen. So from here, you can search for a specific font if you know their name. For example, Montserrat. So you start typing Mons, you see the different fonts that start with this letter combination. And in the results, you will see some free fonts, those without a little crown, and some Canva Pro only fonts. Those will be the ones with the little crown on them. Okay, so that's the first thing you can do. Search for a specific font if you know its name. If you don't know the name, but you know kind of the style of font you're going for example, I'm looking for a bold font, you can type in bold and Canva will suggest a bunch of different fonts that are bolder, kind of thicker, heavier fonts that would be appropriate for a headline, for example. So you can see all of these. And again, you will have a mixed bag of results, right? Pro and free fonts. So one thing you can do if you don't want to have this combination of free and pro fonts is to use the filters right here. So you can click on show filters. You can select, for example, here on the price to show only the free fonts, okay, and apply. And now when you search for bold, you'll only have free fonts results right here, which is pretty convenient. It allows you to only see what you can actually use as a free user. All right, so let's change this heading for something bold that I found here. For example, notable. There you go. This is pretty cool. There you go. This is a much better message. So coming back to our search font here, I showed you how you can search for a specific keyword, right? Bold, for example, or you could have fun and you'd have some fun fonts. And if you don't know, or if you're not inspired, you can always look at these tags that Canva is suggesting right here. So you have paragraph, sans serif, serif, modern, bold, rounded, elegant. So you have a bunch of different things you can try here if you don't feel inspired or simply don't know what to search for. Now, I want to show you something else while searching for fonts. Let's say I want to style the second text box right here. So again, selecting it, coming back to my font box right here. Let's say I want to explore the Montserrat font and font family. One thing you will notice is that in your font results, some of them will have a little arrow that is actually clickable right here in front of them. For example, the Montserrat has this little arrow. If you click it, you should see different font weight. We call these font weight for a specific font family. So here we are talking about the Montserrat family, and you have Montserrat thin, extra light, light, regular, medium, semi-bold, bold, extra bold, and black. Now, this is very useful when working with typography because it allows you to have more flexibility while working with your text, creating contrast between thin and bold font, or highlighting specific words or part of a sentence by using these different weight in the font family. So that is is pretty much how you can change the font of any text box in Canva. Now, let me show you other ways you can style your text. Once you have the text box selected, this is the base, is to look up right here and find this menu right here. So you can obviously change the size of that font, that text, okay, by playing around with the box here. You can enter a value manually, okay? You can use the plus and minus. So there's a bunch of different things you can do. Next is the color button. This will allow you to quickly change the color of your text. Next, you have your bold, italic, underline, strike through buttons, and these will not work with every single font. For example, if I come back to my Montserrat here, I do have the option to bold it, put it italic and stuff like that. But if I work with this text box, you see the bold font is not available. So it will depend on the font family, okay? So these are your classic things. You have your upper and lowercase, okay, to quickly toggle between uppercase, lowercase. That's pretty cool. You have your alignment button to justify your text to the left, to the right, centered. You can create bullet lists or numbers lists as well with Canva. Then you have your spacing button, which will allow you to add more space between the letters. So that's letter spacing, or between the lines if you have different lines of text. Here I have individual lines of text, so it won't change much. And then last but not least, you can style your text with the effects button. So if you have your text box selected, click on effects. This should open a new panel right here on the left side with your different effects. Okay, so you will have some shadow effects. You can play around with that shadow. You can change its color. So each effect, each text effect will have its own settings. You have your hollow effect, you have splice, outline type of effects. That could be very interesting to create easy outlines. You have your background effect, which I use quite a lot behind your letters. All right, if you want to reset, you can use the none button here, the first one. And last thing I want to show you, also have some shape effects. So there's only one for the moment, which allows you to curve your text in Canva. Okay, so you can just move that slider to curve your text one way or another, which could be pretty interesting. So these are the text effects. Now, let me wrap up this lecture by giving you a few tips on how to pair fonts, how to combine fonts in Canva. The most important thing, in my opinion, when combining fonts is to look for contrast. A couple of different ways you could go about creating contrast with your font, with typography, is to go with a bold font, for example, this one right here on top, combined with a thin font, this one right here. You could go for another type of combination, tall versus short. You see, this font right here is much taller than this one right here, so tall versus short. You could go for serif versus sans serif. And the serif are these little legs at the end of your letters here. So this is a serif font, and this one is a sans serif because you don't see these little legs attached to the letters. All right, so serif versus sans serif. And yet another way to create contrast, and this is not an exhaustive list, like there are plenty of ways to create contrast, but another one that I like to use is to use a display or a fun kind of font combined with a more serious font. So we see here, we have knowledge is power in a kind of a display font, a more fun, more fantasy font, combined with Montserrat, which is a normal serious font, I would say. This is also good for creating contrast. All right, moving on. There's something else I want to show you about creating font combinations in Canva. Canva actually gives us a bunch of different resources that we can leverage to create these combinations. So if you click on the text tab right here in the object panel and scroll down a bit, you should see some font combinations that have been preset for you. Some of them will be free to use, those without the crown, and some will be pro only, but these are usually, and especially if you scroll further down, like you see there, you have some with effects applied to them in colors, but some are black and white, like this one right here, or this one right here, or again, these ones right here. So you see all of these are actually combination of text boxes. If I click on one, I can ungroup them and I can count 1, 2 text boxes. Again, here, 1, 2 text boxes. So here is an attempt from Canva to create specific font combination for us. So look for these. These could be very useful. So again, to find them, click on your text tab and then you simply scroll down and you should see them right here. Now there is one last thing I want to show you, another asset that Canva is giving us in order to combine fonts. I have here a template that I just imported from the template library, and I'm going to head over the first tab right here, the design tab in my object panel. Click on it and find the third tab right here that says style. When you click on style, you should see a bunch of different preset combinations. So some will be color palettes, some will be combination of color palette and font combination. And if you scroll down enough, you should see font sets right here. So if you click on see all, you should see some predefined font combinations as well. So if I select this page right here and click on any of these combinations, let me find one that I like, this one, Canva will automatically switch my fonts on my design for the ones that I see here. So I should see chunk 5 and collective. So indeed, this is chunk 5 and this is collective. If I want to change them again, could find another one. Let's say this one, glacial indifference and HK grotesque. There you go, glacial and HK grotesque.